Hey everyone, I'm Evie and welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're watching this, you're most likely in year 12 and you've just finished your first term of the year, which is such an achievement. You definitely deserve this time to rest on summer holidays, but I know it can be such a tricky time. It's your first time having a big break in year 12 and you suddenly feel the pressure to get ahead or to not waste the holidays. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how you can productively use your summer holidays in year 12, but also give yourself enough time to rest so that you don't burn out before you go back to school. Let's get right into it. My first tip might sound a bit obvious, but it's important to give yourself a proper break. I know that I felt the pressure to keep up the study grind when I first started summer holidays. However, I actually found that a well-rested mind will always perform better than a burned out and tired mind. When you allow yourself to properly rest and switch off, especially around Christmas and New Year's, you'll find that when you come back to studying, you'll actually have so much energy to do so. It's really important to give yourself some grace because you just endured the first term of year 12 filled with academic deadlines, rankings, the stress of assessments all due at the same time. And it's important to let yourself rest and recharge before getting back into it. Now, once you've had a proper break, I'd recommend that you do a little bit of studying each day instead of saving all your work for the final 1 to 2 weeks of holidays. For me personally, I did 1 to 2 hours each day, and although this doesn't sound like much, it actually compounds so much over a 6-week period, and you'll notice that if you stick to this, when you go back to school, you'll be feeling really confident. I found that this was a really effective way to ease my brain back into studying again, and it really made all the studying feel less overwhelming because I was breaking it up in chunks across different days. You can even treat this 1 to 2 hours a day as a non-negotiable. You can sit down at your desk in the morning, set a timer, and let yourself really focus on your work. Once that timer is up, you can then relax and enjoy the rest of your day because you know that you've done your schoolwork that you planned on doing. So now we've outlined that we want to do a bit each and every day, but what do we actually study? Firstly, I'd recommend that you look on the term that has just passed and that you use this time to patch up your weak areas of what you've already learned. The summer holidays are the perfect time to work on your weaker areas because there's no upcoming deadlines and due dates and exams that need your urgent attention. During the term, it can be so tempting to just gloss over the topics that you find harder or that you're less confident in because you know that you have to focus on other things for exams, but the holidays give you that time to slow down and spend additional time on harder topics if needed. Some really effective ways to go over your weak areas are to reattempt your exams or assessments from the term that has just passed. For example, for biology or maths, if you had an exam, you could reattempt some questions that you lost marks on, and you could either mark this based on the marking scheme or even email the questions to your teacher, and I'm sure they'd be willing to mark them whenever they're free. For English, this is also a great time to polish up your essays and email these essays to your teachers for feedback. You would have likely had to do some sort of essay or multimodal piece on the common module, so it's a great time to practice some essays and hand them in because you're not going to be revisiting that until trials in August, so it's important to make sure that you have a really solid foundation and you're feeling good with it while it's still fresh in your brain. Now, once you've patched up your weaker areas, I really recommend looking at the term as a whole and seeing how confident you feel in what you've just learned. During the summer holidays, there can be a huge emphasis on getting ahead, but before you do any of that, it's so important to make sure that you have a really good grasp on everything that you've just learned because this is still fresh in your mind right now. A really good question to ask yourself is, if I got tested on this tomorrow, would I feel okay with it? If the answer is no, it's a really good sign that consolidating everything that you've just learned is going to be far more beneficial than trying to get ahead. If you're stuck on how to actually consolidate your understanding, you can do this by watching videos online because I find that it's really helpful to watch someone explain something to you. You can even go through the syllabus of what you've just covered and annotate it based on what you know. You can make mind maps, diagrams, and you can even upload your notes to AI and get it to explain things to you and to give you some practice questions. Also, if you want to look through HSC papers, you can also find practice questions based on what you've currently learned so far in Year 12. And I find that that's a really good indicator because if you can answer a HSC question confidently, that's the level of understanding you need for the final exam. Next up, one of the best things you can do during the summer holidays is to make study resources that future you will thank you for. This could look like turning your notes into flashcards, making mind maps, summaries, diagrams, or even recording videos of you explaining a topic. This kind of work may not feel urgent right now, but trust me, when you have trials in the HSC, you are going to thank yourself for it. There's actually not that much time to prepare for the trials and you're tested on the whole year's worth of content, so it's so important to set yourself up well now, especially knowing that the content that you just covered is going to be the content that's the most distant and pushed far back in your brain. Once these exams come around later next year, you're going to be saving yourself so much time, stress, and you're going to be able to focus more on revision rather than making revision resources. Also, if you're studying HSC biology, I thought I'd let you know that I have my biology notes and flashcards listed on Etsy. The link is in the description if you want to get an idea of how to structure your study notes or how to make flashcards from your notes. Now, in the summer holidays, when it comes to getting ahead, this is very unique for each person, and what works for one person may not necessarily work best for you. For me personally, I put the most of my time into mastering what I had already learnt in the previous term and preparing study resources to improve my confidence going forward. And I only familiarized myself with what was coming next and didn't focus on fully mastering it and fully understanding it just yet. I find that I learn best when I'm in class and a teacher is speaking to me and I can answer questions. So I knew that if I was going to spend heaps of hours in the holidays trying to learn something alone in my room, it may not be the best, most productive use of my time. However, if you know that during the term you're going to be very busy and you have a lot of things coming up, it may be best and work best for you to work your way through the content. Some simple ways that I familiarized myself with the content before going back to school in January were reading my English prescribed text, looking over and annotating the syllabus, watching some introductory YouTube videos, and skimming through some textbooks and online resources such as Atomi and Enrollo. This approach ensured that when I went back to school in term 1, the content wasn't completely foreign. I had a general idea of what was going on, but I was keen to learn more. I was able to recognize key terms and concepts, themes and definitions, but I actually learned the bulk of information when I was in class. Some students benefit from fully learning the content ahead of time, and if you have the time and means to do so, I'd recommend that you do that if it works best for you. But personally and honestly for me, I only briefly went over it and spent the most of my time increasing my confidence in what we had learned in the term prior. And that concludes this video on how to make a productive use of your summer holidays in Year 12. Please remember that the goal of these summer holidays isn't to turn yourself into a study machine, but it's to give yourself a bit of a break, to increase your confidence in what you've just learned, and to set yourself up strong for the rest of the year. If this video helped you in any way, please feel free to like and subscribe for more study and productivity content just like this. Also, please feel free to comment below any video suggestions or questions you may have about Year 12 or university, because I'd be more than happy to help. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your summer holidays and that the rest of Year 12 goes so incredibly. You will all achieve such amazing things and you're already off to such a great start by being proactive, clicking on this video and wanting to use your summer holidays well. Thank you so much again for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!